Now we need to see into the relationship between nationalism and border politics, because much of recent discourse about nationalism has been based on border politics. Border politics is something which is based on divisive principles in a society, which divides people based on some territory, race, or color. So, as name itself shows, it's a division based on border or territory. Border politics are part of national identity politics and are now increasingly defined by the national language, the mother tongue of a certain community or a certain territory, which is being emphasized upon, by ethnicity and culture. Transcending the political borders of the nation state, it's not about political bonding, rather, it's about the bonding based on ethnicity, religion, color, etc. Such language policies based on border politics, they imply a return to national language policies which essentialize nation state, projecting a homogeneous culture, language and territory. So this might lead to the revival of in some aspects of or the popular use of local languages. This may reduce to the political slogans only, but this is what is being essentialized by much of the discourse about nationalism based on border politics. We are witnessing a reinventing of traditional parochial closed nation states, which are to a large extent are being promoted by a radical right in most part of the world. It takes on highly culture specific forms, largely because it draws on nationalist myths whose contents are by definition unique to some particular local culture. So religious right in many parts of the world is using such border politics in order to get their political gains, and it's getting crazy as we see the rise of many politicians across the world, even in the developed world, who are using the metaphors of nationalism or border politics to promote their political advantages. Obviously, the concept of mother tongue is one of these concepts which are being used by many people to promote their political agendas, and it's relate to the nativist body politics of viewing and conceptualizing nation as a body, with the mother tongue symbolizing the mother language. So language is something which can be used to connect people, but as simultaneously can be used to discriminate between people, also, as it is being done in the case of border politics. If you just look at the picture in front of you, this picture would provide you an example of border politics, how a religious right-wing party in Hungary, which this party is named as Jobbik, this is using territorial aspects or territorial politics to divisive politics to further their political agendas to gain political currency. Close look at election poster by the Hungarian Jobbik, in Jobbik is the party name, in 2010 reveals that body politics combined with the well-known racist discourse about parasites is experiencing a revival. Something in previous history we can see the outsiders were in certain countries were being symbolized as parasites, and such symbols were dying down in the world. But in 2010, this Jobbik party, which was a right-wing extremist party, according to its critics, revived this image in Hungary. Jobbik election poster 2010 translated, put an end to parasitism. You can also vote Jobbik. That in order to finish parasitism in your country, you should vote this party. This is what is being conveyed to the people. And what do we see in this poster is the poster represent a mosquito embedded in a stop sign. That means stop mosquitoes, parasites who are nourishing on your body, on your rich economic social resources, on your society. So try to get rid of. This is what we call territorial or border politics, a kind of racial division in the society. The colors of the Hungarian flag, red, white, green, evoke nationalism. If you see that picture on your screens in its original form by finding it through Google, in a colorful manner. You can find these colors down there. This evokes some kind of nationalism and imply that Hungary, represented by the right-wing populist party Jobbik, should not be bothered or damaged by such pests, such mosquitoes, and they should be, because they can create some kind of social illness, and therefore they should be removed from the society immediately. This is what is being conveyed. Hungary, in short, should get rid of mosquitoes. The abstract noun employed here, parasitism, actually shows the urgency of the situation. This shows that this matter is not a common matter of an ordinary mosquito. Rather, it's a very serious matter which should be dealt with immediately. A problem has fallen Hungary, and only Jobbik will stop it, the political party. Who causes or has caused this condition? Who are the parasites, mosquitoes? In the context 2000 Jobbik campaign, this could be interpreted, or this could be implied as the Roma and the Jews living in Hungary. These are the minorities living in Hungary, and this party, right-wing party, wants to get rid of them so that they can support, they can nourish, they can promote the pure Hungarian nation, and we can see that this is purely based on racist elements. And this party began to organize grassroots activists willing to act on those hatred or the notions of hatred. In order to deny any discrimination or discriminatory intention, the producers of such racist or in other words, such nationalist comments usually present them in some kind of ambivalence form, but this ambivalence is well calculated. It's not that ambivalent that the common people would not be able to understand, and it's not that obvious that this might fall into some kind of legal restrictions. So such texts are created very carefully by involving some kind of calculated ambivalence. In contrast to the discursive and social constructivist approaches, nation as defined by right-wing parties is a limited and sovereign community that exists and persists through time and is tied to a specific territory, an area, inherently and essentially constructed through an in and out member, a non-member, opposition, and its outgroups. So this is, according to right-wing parties, nation is very much not only a religious, but it's a very communal concept which is restricted to certain members who are a part of it through certain ancestry, we can say that. Access to national identity or membership is defined via heritage and ancestry according to such concepts of nationalism, and various means to represent such linguistic means to represent such nationalism involve those metaphors which provoke common people to get rid of minorities or the people who do not belong to them racially. Such a notion of nation and nationalism is of course closely tied to the concepts underlying racism. However, at the same time, it is also important to understand that racism is not essentially national, or nationalism is not essentially racist. For example, a territorial space must be perceived as a structural component of nationalism, but not of racism. Such discourses based on border politics can be racist, but we need to understand, to sum up this point, that all national discourses or discourses based on nationalism may not necessarily be racist.